At some point, you've probably been stuck in an online queue with millions of other people trying to buy something you didn't even know you really needed. A waitlist, a countdown timer, a limited stock warning. And suddenly, it stops being just a gadget and turns into proof of status, of belonging. The strange part? This almost never happens by accident. Big tech companies, from Apple to Tesla, from game consoles to AI tools and apps, have turned product launches into a highly calculated psychological game. While most brands just announce something new, the tech giants do something else. They engineer hype. They design the feeling of scarcity. They create queues and wait lists that, very often, are part of the strategy, not just a logistics problem. Today, we're going inside that hype machine. How these brands build desire weeks before launch. Why the idea of limited spots works so well. And which invisible tricks make you think, I need this, right now. And the real question, is this just smart marketing, or a sophisticated form of manipulation? Long before digital waitlists, there was already a perfect laboratory for testing hype, the world of video games, sneakers, and people camping outside Apple stores. In the 2000s, every new iPhone became news, not just because of the product itself, but because of the massive lines in front of the stores. News channels showed people camping on the sidewalk, sleeping in tents, celebrating like it was a rock concert. That wasn't just a side effect of success. It was part of the show. Apple understood early on that launch day is not just a sales day, it's a social event. It's a story being told in real time. If people are sleeping in line, this must be important. At the same time, other industries were learning the same lesson. Sneaker brands started doing limited drops. New game consoles were launched with extremely tight stock. And on the internet, websites crashing from too many buyers became a headline, which only increased the desire. The big tech breakthrough was to take all of this and turn it into a method. Carefully choreographed keynotes, phrases like limited release, invite only, closed beta, exclusive invitations sent to a small group of influencers, accidental leaks that always seem to happen at the perfect moment. From the outside, it looks like pure, organic enthusiasm. From the inside, it's a process. Control information, control access, and that way, control desire. This model worked so well for Apple and other giants that it became a template. Today, from AI startups to social apps, almost everyone tries to copy this logic of programmed hype. But what's really happening behind that giant waitlist? Is it truly a demand problem or a carefully designed marketing tool? Behind every sold out in 2 minutes and every join the waitlist, there's one key question being asked inside tech companies. How much desire can we create before we actually deliver the product? Instead of producing as much as possible and then trying to sell it, many big tech players do the opposite. First, they push desire to the maximum, and only then do they release access in controlled doses. This is where 3 extremely powerful tools come in: apparent scarcity, controlled exclusivity, and programmed FOMO. Apparent scarcity happens when a product seems impossible to get, and that difficulty is part of the plan. Maybe the stock isn't really that small. Maybe the release schedule is intentionally slow. The goal is not just to serve demand. The goal is to make the world see that more people want it than people who actually get it. Controlled exclusivity appears when access itself becomes a privilege. Invite-only systems, closed betas, early access for a selected few. When everyone can buy something, nobody feels special. But when only a small group can get in, the product becomes a symbol of status. And FOMO, the fear of missing out, is the glue that holds everything together. Countdown timers. Last spots remaining. Invite required. Over 1 million people on the wait list. The underlying message is always the same. If you don't jump in now, you'll be left behind. In practice, This model creates a perfect cycle for the brand. The queue becomes news. The waitlist becomes social proof. The limited stock becomes a headline. And every person who fails to get the product becomes a stored-up desire for the next batch. But there's a catch. The more companies repeat this playbook, the more people start to notice the pattern. That's where the strategy begins to backfire. Where does smart launch strategy end? And where does consumer manipulation begin? The problem with building a castle on hype is simple. At some point, people start seeing the scaffolding behind the illusion. When the line feels more important than the product, something breaks. When sold out in seconds happens every single time, suspicion grows. And when the promise doesn't match the inflated expectations, excitement turns into frustration, fast. In the last few years, big tech has begun to feel the downside of its own hype machine. Launches surrounded by rumors, leaks, and epic promises that, in reality, deliver just small incremental upgrades. Game consoles, smartphones, electric cars, or AI products promoted as revolutionary, but arriving late with bugs or without enough stock to meet the very demand they helped engineer. The result? More skeptical consumers, tougher journalists, and a question that's becoming more and more common. Is this actually innovative, or just another marketing show? Some companies have already been forced to recalibrate the machine, promising less, being more transparent about limitations, avoiding the use of words like revolutionary in every single launch. Because there's an invisible limit. Once people feel they've been manipulated, hype stops being fun and starts being annoying. At the same time, there's a transformation underway. Newer brands, and even some established ones, are using similar tools: waitlists, early access, limited drops, but with a different tone. More honesty about why there's a waitlist, more community-focused launches, less corporate theater. The hype machine hasn't disappeared, but it's being forced to grow up. The question now isn't just, how do we create desire quickly? It's, how do we do that without destroying trust in the long term? In the end, the big tech hype machine says something uncomfortable about us, not just about the companies. First, we don't just buy products, we buy stories about ourselves. A spot in a queue, an exclusive invite, you've been selected email. All of this speaks directly to our ego, to our need to feel special, to belong to a group. Second, scarcity, exclusivity, and FOMO work, because they tap into very old shortcuts in our brains. Fear of being left behind, fear of being the only one who doesn't have it, fear of missing a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, even when, deep down, we know the next version is just months away. Third, there's a very thin line between smart strategy and blatant manipulation. When a brand uses hype to shine a spotlight on something truly new, useful, or well-built, the game feels fair. But when it uses the same tools to push more of the same, the trust starts to crack. Maybe the real question isn't, how do we escape hype? Maybe it's, which brands actually deserve our anticipation, and which ones only deserve our skepticism? And if the big tech hype machine shows how desire can be engineered, some brands go one step further and build something even more powerful: identity. Few companies on the planet have done this as well as Harley-Davidson. Harley doesn't just sell motorcycles, it sells a lifestyle, a feeling of rebellion, a global tribe of people who recognize each other instantly, long before they ever speak. It's what happens when a brand stops being just a product and becomes part of who you are. In our next video, we're going inside that story. Harley-Davidson, when a brand becomes an identity. How a motorcycle manufacturer almost went bankrupt, was rescued, and turned into one of the strongest lifestyle symbols in history. If you want more stories like this, about how brands control desire, build communities, and change behavior, subscribe to Brand Stories and Big Ideas now, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode. And one more thing. Which tech launch made you think I need this right now? Only for you to realize later that it might have been mostly hype? Drop your story in the comments. Your experience might become part of a future video.